Welcome, everybody. It is another Tuesday. This is Pod. I'm really excited because you know how we're in Atlanta and this is Black Hollywood. I am so excited to have you on this program about 242 AM Productions. I am so thrilled about everything that you're doing. So welcome, Quand Robinson Thomas, to my show. I'm so humbled. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the invitation. I'm super excited to talk to you too. So it's mutual. It's so
Y'all. You know you've made, okay, for that, I'm going to do my proper shout out. So everybody on Facebook and LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, please don't forget to like out the channel so they'll keep us coming back and pay our bills. And also special shout out to Parade Deck TV, which we are actually live. I forgot to warn about that one, but we are live to those that community, those 6 point however many million folks there are on that Parade Deck TV community. So hello everybody. But I wanted to make sure I got this done right. Okay, she actually, professional, all right, and there is an actual media kit. All right, y'all. So I wanted to get into, what you do, 242 AM Productions. I also, recognize the kind of what's going on right now with strikes and SAG and all those things. Those of you are not aware about things that are happening in the entertainment industry. But just really quickly, I just want to read off a couple of things. On top of the fact that she is the CEO of 242 AM Productions, and she's a sought-after producer, y'all, on like real shows and real networks. I'm gonna drop because I got to set it straight so people know what's coming on. You're also a podcaster. You're also an award-winning author, and I'm gonna dig into all of that. But I do want to just stop and just give you a little bit of shout out. She's an award-winning producer with over 10 years of experience in all phases of production, y'all, from development to delivery. And she previously worked at CNN, NBA TV, Tyler Perry Studios, Turner Classic Movies, which is like my favorite. TCM is the bomb. Okay, so shout out to all of us.
Shout out to TCM. Yes.
Shout out to TCM. I'm so excited that you're here. But you've done a lot of work, and as I was thinking about, when we first met, I think one of the things that really attracted and impressed me with you is the work that you're doing to support our community. And I said that we're in Atlanta, and this is Black Hollywood, but y'all should know that doesn't mean that it makes it any easier, and the competition is really tough. So tell us a little bit about, you and 242 AM Productions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, thank you again for inviting me in this space. I'm so excited to be here with you. And yes, so I founded 242 AM Productions, and we're basically an independent boutique production company. I focus on television, film, branded content. And really the mission behind it is to move the margins to the center, which is a quote from Bell Hooks, an author that I love. Wow. And so I want to do that within the space of film and media, right? And so to do that, we focus on visibility, representation, and we really nurture the creatives that we work with and their stories, and create pathways for future creatives as well. I focus primarily on the BIPOC creatives. So 242 AM Productions is a space for underrepresented and marginalized creatives to create the content that they want to create, which will transcend the screen, transform lives, and also challenge others' ways of thinking. So that's kind of like what we do over here at 242 AM Production. And exactly like you just mentioned, yes, Atlanta is the Black Hollywood. That's what it's called. But that doesn't mean that anything ever gets any easier, right? Just because the studios are here all the time, and just because people are working all the time, doesn't mean that all of the doors are open. We still have to make our way through the doors. And even the doors that are open, we still have to find a key and keep it open, And so I think you can see right now in the climate that we're in that even with the studios, even with major studios and networks, nothing is guaranteed across the entire industry. You're seeing a lot of layoffs and you're seeing a lot of cutbacks. You've got the WGA and the SAG strike. So much is up in the air right now that you really, really, really have to figure out ways to support each other and to support yourself so that you can continue to do this really, really, really important work, which is sharing incredible content that needs to be shared and creating that visibility and representation for others to see and hear your stories. So yes, we're focused on all of that right now.
I love that. And so we actually have, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Dumping Ground, which is another podcast, and they actually serve not just, I was going to say the Georgia area, but broader than the Georgia area. And they talk to business owners like yourself so I just got to give a quick shout out because they are very supportive. So hello, Dumping Ground. And yeah, for the writer's strike and everybody who was impacted. So I definitely wanted to pause because this is kind of a serious moment. People need to eat. And a lot of us, I think we are, we're taking in, we're receiving the content, but I don't know that a lot of us appreciate what goes into, the creative side of it. So one of the things that I want to touch on with you is this book. I want to know. I need to know. I'm so in her business. Y'all, we'll talk producing and all those things because I do want to, I want to kind of call out a couple of opportunities that I think is just beyond amazing. The fact that you offer those private screening, right? So people can really book. Y'all, again, I told you we're in Atlanta. Only in Atlanta can you. So this is an opportunity to work with you. So can you touch a little bit on that, and then I'm going to talk about your book.
Okay, sure. So I'll talk about the screenings first. And interestingly enough, the idea and the vision for the screenings came out of the space that we are in a strike right now. Things in the industry are completely slow. For a lot of people, it's like at a complete halt, right? I think you really touched on it too, is that I think in the grand scheme of things, you enjoy the content, you enjoy the creators, you enjoy the comfort of being able to see it in your home and everything. But it's really difficult to translate to others how much work goes into creating content, how much work it takes to create your favorite television show or to create your favorite movie. I mean, if you ever watch TV or you go to the movies, take the time to sit and watch through all the credits at the end. There's a reason why the credits are so long. It takes a lot of people to pull this stuff together. And so when you think about the fact that we're in a strike right now, all of those people, all the names that you see in those credits, those are people who are likely very, very affected by it right now. And so I do want to take this time right now to say that 242 AM Productions, we stand in full solidarity with the Writers Guild of America and also with SAG-AFTRA, as I've worked with both guilds on productions and on my short film. So we stand in complete solidarity with them, and we are advocating for a quick and fair and equitable resolution to the strike that's going on. And so that's where 242 AM stands. And then when it comes to the screenings that you mentioned that I host, that idea came out of the strike because right now, while things are kind of slowing down, there's still a lot of content that's already readily available that people should be able to have access to, and that you don't have to wait on a studio to come and pick up your project and give you distribution. Like, we should start talking about ways that we can distribute our projects ourselves. We need to start talking about ways that we can get our projects into the homes and into the lives of the actual audience that you created it for. Like, as a filmmaker, as a content creator, you are creating your content specifically for our audience. And you don't necessarily need to go through a huge studio to find your audience. What you should do is be able to put your content in front of them, working with other independents who are doing the same thing as well. So that's what I do as a branch of 242 AM Productions. And so what we do is called Curated Mission. So it's basically creating and hosting very curated, creative events specifically tailored towards hosting screenings for your intended audience. And so if you have any content right now that's already produced, already, fully available, and it's just like sitting on your laptop, and you've never gotten a chance to like actually see it in a theater, come to us. Like, we can help you put on a screening so that you can have the right people in the audience, so that you can have people who can go out and now champion your content because they've seen it in a very intimate way, and in a way that really highlights the work that you're trying to do, and be able to share it with the exact audience that you're trying to communicate with. I think too, when you see like some of the big, hosted screenings that you see on social media, usually a lot of those experiences, come from someone like sending out a message like, who's interested in a free screening? And then you sign up and you go, and then nothing. Like, they just show you the movie and then there's nothing. No, we're doing a full experience where you could have a Q&A with the director, or you could have like a social event surrounding it, or you can have a organization or a group. You can host like a fundraiser. Like, there are different things that you can do. So by all means, any creatives that are watching this or listening to us right now, feel free to reach out to 242 AM Productions. I will be updating my website soon, but it's called Curated Mission. So just think of it like curated and then admission, like admission to a theater, but right. Curated Mission, and talk to me, and like, we can put on something very, very special to really put your content out there and share it with your intended audience.
Wow, I just love that. And as you were talking about getting your content into the, to the audience, there's a lot of limitations. There's a lot of folks with a lot of ideas and no place to put it unless you know someone who knows someone who might know someone. Mm-hmm. And so the access that I think that your organization provides for a lot of people who are, there's folks who've been at it for a long time, but they'd never had the opportunity. They didn't know the right person, and you actually are the right person. And I think your background, because you came from this world, and you know what I mean? It's not just a content creator saying, I'm just gonna sell you some channels. This is someone who's from this, has this experience and from this background, and you understand how to tell a story. And I think, as I'm thinking about how storytelling and how and why I'm such a fan of yours, is going towards your book. And so can you tell us a little bit about your book and what made you write it, and tell us a little bit about, and I'm going to drop the link so you can find her. There you go, Daddy's daughter. I will drop the link so y'all can find her. And if you can't find her, you come to me, I will find her.
Yes. Well, this is the book. And you're so sweet, but this is, I always give a shout out to our lead author, Elder Denise Grant. She is the visionary. She is the lead author of the book. I am a co-author for this wonderful, blessed book that we're all able to come together. I share this space with 6 sister authors. I love to call them my sister authors.
Love that.
And so the name of the book is Daddy Daughter Love Stories, Celebrating African American Fathers. And like I said, the vision comes from Elder Denise Grant, who had this idea to really bring together women who had a shared experience of losing their father and having a really close relationship with their father, and then losing them, and then the life lessons that you've gained from that, and how having that relationship with your father has informed, who you are today, and then also how those characteristics that you and your father may share also align with characteristics that you may share with your Heavenly Father as well.
Oh, wow.
So that was her vision for the book. And so we connected because we are both a part of the Ladies of Howard University alumni group. Shout out to Howard.
Shout out to Howard.
we always have to give a shout out to Howard. So HU. And so she's a part of the alumni group with me, and she posted about, putting together this project, and it really spoke to me. And so we connected. And so we have been on this journey for 2 years, I believe, was the total time frame that it took for everyone to write their part of the book and for it to come together and become the project that it is. And what I can say is that now that it's here and it's in our hands and we're sharing it with our communities and different bookstores and networks that we're a part of, the outreach and the response to it has been so amazing. I mean, it's been really, really, really impactful. We launched our book on Amazon, I believe, back in April, and we were named bestsellers on, I think, about 5 different categories,
Wow.
on the first day that we released our book, and it's just been a blessing ever since then. So if anyone is interested, or if you have experienced the loss of a father, or has a difficult relationship with your father, this is not even just for, people who've had, beautiful relationships. This is for people who've had challenging relationships. This is for people who have had a zero relationship with their father, because the greater connection is always within, like, healing yourself and healing, whatever hurt comes from that space within your life, healing that, and then also connecting it to the larger Father that we all share, which is our Heavenly Father.
Wow.
So, it's been a really, really profound project to be a part of. I'm super grateful to Elder Denise Grant, and then also my other sister authors as well, for us all being on this journey together and now sharing this project with everyone else. So we've been really, really gratified by
that hits me. I'm gonna read this comment. I'll tell you why this hits me. But so thank you. So being a girl dad is a special seat at the table. Your father sets the tone and sets the bar for the man you will allow in your life. Black men, take your seat and cover and protect your daughters.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. My there's the gentleman that most people see on the wall is my dad. He passed in 1996. And I am, I realize now the characteristics that I have very similar to him in the way that we think about business. He was also an entrepreneur and a philanthropist. He did a lot of stuff. So that definitely hits home for me that you would capture your personal stories. And I just love when women come together and work on something that helps all of us, y'all. And I'm pretty sure I can say this, that this book is not just for women. This is for men. Y'all want to know how to be a good girl dad, go buy the book. Go get some cheat notes.
Absolutely. And it's not even just about being a girl dad. I 100% agree with what the commenter said. But it's about fatherhood in general. I think if you, again, look at media, not pointing the blame because I'm in the industry, but if you look at media, if you look at, a lot of the commentary that's repeated often, one could easily walk away with the idea or the notion that African-American men aren't good fathers, and that African-American men, are often absent in the home, or aren't connected with their families, or, they just play a backseat role and let the mom do it all. That is easily a narrative that can be shared. However, when you live the experience and you know better and you know different, then you know that is not the norm, right?
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is that majority of our homes do still have men in our lives. The majority of our homes have fathers, majority of our homes have husbands. And so a large portion of this book is also dispelling the myths about Black fatherhood that a lot of people may have leaned into or may be connected to. And just to reinforce that, no, there are a lot of really good, amazing, strong fathers out here who are raising their kids, who are providing for their families, who are present in their families' lives. So this book does a lot to speak to that too. And I also think it gives fathers a great insight on how their daughters may feel about them. Unfortunately for all of us, the sister authors, we're sharing this story after our fathers have passed.
Yeah.
And so, for me personally, like, I know my dad knew how much I loved him. And I mean, if you read my part, you'll see that there's a very strong connection between my father and myself. But I also know that, like, I never got a chance to tell him how much he meant to me, like, in these kind of words while he was here. And so if you are a father and you read this book, you have the opportunity to right now go and have that conversation with your child, go have that conversation with your daughter, and really hear in real time the impact that you've had on your life. And so that's powerful too.
Wow, I told y'all she's a heavy hitter. So we've talked about 2:42 a.m. We've talked about curated missions. We've talked about the book, and now I want to touch on podcast. Let's talk podcast world. So I told y'all she had a whole media kit, and I have my little cheat notes. But I want to talk about podcasts because there are so many people who are stepping into podcasting, and one of the things that the question I get a lot, because I do business mentorship as well, is when should I do it? And I always ask people, like, why and who are you talking to? Why do you think you want to do this? Because being a guest on a podcast is nothing like running a podcast, producing the podcast, writing the podcast, maintaining the podcast, building the numbers, playing with data. It is totally different. So from your perspective, though, as you're moving into this space, I know for you it's probably different, y'all, because she's an actual producer, so it's very, very different. And I've been begging her to make me her Oprah. So there's that.
We're still on. Don't worry. That's on the to-do list.
So can you talk about your podcast and what's that going to be about and where can we find you? And I'm going to be stalking you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I created a podcast. The name of the podcast is Daddy's Girl Talk. And the podcast was created in support of the book, right? Okay. So if you go get the book, then you will read and hear all of our stories. And then I also created a podcast to allow space for other people to share their similar experience. So that is why it's called Daddy's Girl Talk, right? So it's Daddy's Girl, and then we're also doing some girl talk. So we are taking the conversation of grief, right? Because the common thread that we all have is that we've lost our fathers. We're taking that common thread of grief and we're turning it into girl talk so that it's more approachable and so that there's a space where you can really connect and really share that experience and realize that you're not as alone as you think. I know when I was going through the loss of my father, I spent a lot of that time really just thinking that, like, well, one, being in denial, but then two, just thinking that, like, all of the things that I'm feeling, like, nobody else understands. Nobody else, like, if you've never been through it, you don't get it. And part of that is true, right? Like, for a large part, people say after you lose a parent, you're part of the club, right? That's the thing that a lot of people say.
I'm an orphan. Both of mine are gone. So it's a total different club.
That's a different club, right? Yeah. But it's a very unique experience that like only someone who's been through that really can understand it, really can appreciate it. And so we've created this space where if that's your experience, then you can come and you can share your experience and know that you're not alone. And so I host the podcast with one of my best friends, and her name is Sean Q Battle. Well, her name is Chandra. I call her Sean, but her name is Chandra Q Battle. And so we co-hosted this podcast, and we did the podcast from Mother's Day to Father's Day, specifically to bridge that gap and to offer support for anyone who's lost a father during that season, because that's sometimes a very triggering season. And I see you're nodding too.
Oh yeah.
Because like you just said, you've lost both your parents. So I know, Mother's Day and Father's Day, they can be triggering. So we wanted to create that safe space so that people could, while everyone else is running out buying Mother's Day cards and Father's Day cards and doing all the rituals and things, like, you're not forgotten. There's someone who understands what you're feeling and what you're going through. And so we launched on Mother's Day. It wrapped on Father's Day. And again, the outpouring support and the response to it has just been really, really supportive. I invited some of my sister authors from the book. They joined the podcast. Another podcaster, Lauren Denise, her podcast is This Too Shall Suck. Her podcast is about grief. She joined us on the podcast, and it really was just about creating girl talk in a safe space to share that experience. So, that was my foray into the world of podcasting. And as you said, for me, it was completely daunting because I'm a producer. I like to be behind the scenes. I like to just tell other people what they should do, what makes things work, and how how it should look. But it's a completely different beast when you are on the other end, when you're in front of the camera or in front of the mic. So it was a new experience for me. But I learned a lot, and and I was really able to hone into my storyteller skills and make sure that we created a great place for our guests to share their stories and feel comfortable sharing stories, because this is a very intimate and a very vulnerable topic for a lot of people. So we made sure that it was the right environment for that. And, thankfully, people have been blessed by it. And so I'm really grateful to have been a part of that journey.
So are you going to restart it? Because about 100 people are going to hit me up after this.
It's so interesting that you say that. I completely went into it saying this is a limited run, but everyone keeps saying, okay, when's next episode, or what else? Are you going to come back for season 2? So to answer that, I will just say, check in with us, and I'll keep you posted. Follow us. Follow 242 AM Productions on Instagram. Follow 242 AM Productions on Facebook. Follow us on LinkedIn, and you will get all of the updates. And if we come out with a season 2, you will be the first to know if you follow us.
I have an IMDb profile, and I'm gonna be on
season 2.
Y'all, that's so amazing. Yeah, I think a lot of people are gonna get blessed. But once you start pouring into people in that way, it's hard to turn that off. And there's got to be a lot of heart behind it. So I appreciate that all of you and the sisters in the writing club, right? Sisters in the book, all of you all were able to you were actually willing to share that side of your experience. A lot of people they don't talk about it, or they monetize it in a way that feels cheesy, y'all. So I really appreciate that all of you put your heart into helping others through grief. And there again, like I said, I'm waiting for season 2. I'm speaking it out. Y'all need to bring it back. Okay. There's too many people who need to be blessed from what you guys are doing. So I love all of that. So as we coming down to our close, and I realize it's dinner hour, and when our original programming run, for those of y'all who catch us on the podcast streets, we run at 7 p.m. and we run into dinner time when people start getting hungry. But before I let you escape, I want to find out from you, what are some of the things that you have coming up for, towards the rest of the year? How can we tap into what you're doing?
Absolutely. Well, we were just talking about podcasts, right? So while season 1 of Daddy's Girl Talk is done, I do have 2 more podcasts that are coming out this year. One podcast is going to be about Black fathers. So I'm setting to launch that in the fall of this year. Again, highlighting the real lives of real fathers, real Black dads that are really in the homes and supporting their family, and hearing directly from them, because I can only say so much how much I was impacted by my father, but I don't think you ever really get a chance to really hear from fathers themselves.
That's true.
Talking about how fatherhood impacts them and how they've approached fatherhood, and how, whatever kind of father or relationship they have with their father, how that has impacted them and then informed the way that they, perform as a father as well. So that podcast will be released later this year, in the fall of this year. And then also I will be releasing a podcast. It's centered around intentional dating as an adult, right? So everyone is always talking about how hard it is in these streets for people who are single, and how hard it is in these streets for people who are looking for a good man or looking for a good wife, and really just the crazy stories and experiences that come with that, right? So this podcast, again, will focus on that experience for people who are intentionally dating, people who are looking for, a partner to share their life with, and the obstacles that they've, encountered out here, dating and, in relationships and in situationships and in courtships and just all in the friendships, just all the ships that come along with it, right? And so that podcast will launch in the fall as well. So those are the 2 podcasts that we have coming up. I have wrapped production on the first short film that we've produced under 242 AM Productions. That short film is called I Wish I Were Pretty. It was written and directed and acted in by my incredible friend and an enormously talented writer, Hannah Chang. And it tells the story of a Korean American woman's very intimate and real experience with navigating the impossible beauty standards, and how it threatens to, how it threatens her view of herself and her self-worth, and then also her relationship with her best friend. So we wrapped production on that. We're currently in post-production, and we intend to start our festival run also in the fall. So it's a very busy fall. We got a lot of stuff happening in this fall. And then I feel like I have something else that's coming up that I'm not thinking
like,
about.
What else could you
at the moment?
Wow.
I really know. I know that there's something else that this other short film. That's what it is. I'm like, I know there's something else. Yes. So I have another short film that I'm currently writing. So I'm putting on my writer's hat for this one. It's the working title for it is Lover's Lunch. And I'm writing that, and I am looking to finish the writing by fall so that we can start shooting right here in Atlanta. So if you are in the film community here in Atlanta and you want to follow the project and see how we're doing, definitely follow me online on Instagram, on my website, 242am production, 242amprod.com, and keep a tab on how things are going. We've already received some financing behind it and some really strong support. So we're really excited about putting the project together. I just need to find a couple of moments to simmer down and finish everything.
All right, and 2024 should be doing Mrs. Pie Says series.
Yes. And then of course the big spoiler alert is that Shelley is going to become the next Oprah, and I'm going to produce her Emmy award-winning television show. So that's also, we're speaking that into existence as well.
We're speaking it. And Nate, who is our road manager, is in the chat. So he probably fell off. I don't know if he fell off by now. He's like, what? Yeah, that's Shelley. She gonna do it. Yes, I am.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So I am, I definitely want you to come back, later towards the year, because I want people to know about what's happening. I want to make sure that our community, which is a mix of entrepreneurs and business leaders and moms and kids and everybody, we're all aware of what's happening. This is such a great way to give access to a lot of really talented people that cannot get it. So he said, I'm here. Nate, checking in. That's our road manager right there. Nate, I'm gonna be Mrs. Pie on her. She's gonna produce our show. So, and if I said it, it's gonna happen. So I really genuinely appreciate it, because quite frankly, with your background and your expertise, you could have gone a total different way, right? And been paid big bucks faster. And yet you've decided to take this journey and help many of us along the way. So truly, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate everything, all the sacrifice. I know this is it's hard work, y'all. She's not like, she's not like, just sitting back eating bonbons. This is a lot of work.
I wish.
A lot of work and a lot of commitment.
No, and you're absolutely right. I mean, I think I've been so fortunate in my career. You read my bio, and people can look me up and see. I've been so fortunate in my career, but I've never forgotten the fact that, everything that I did in my career, it's not for me to hoard. It's not for me to just hang on to it and keep it a secret and just be like, oh, I figured it out for myself, so you figure it out for yourself. No, that's not who I am. That's not what I believe in. I am anti any kind of gatekeeping. There were so many people who opened the door for me, so many people who gave me, free advice, or took me under their wings, or mentored me, or, just gave me a chance when no one else would give me a chance, that I would be ridiculous to not do the exact same thing that many, many, many people have done for me. And so everything, I look at my career as this knowledge was given to me, and it wasn't given to me in a space of secrecy. It was given to me so that I can now do something with it. And so I now use my resources, and I use my reach, and I use my connections and networking to always try to make sure that I'm putting someone else in a space where they can grow and they can thrive and they can develop and they can create. That's why a large part of 242 AM Productions is about creating pathways and nurturing creatives and telling their stories and providing that safe environment to grow and to develop. Because I know that was given to me, whether it was within my family home, I have a super supportive family, or whether it was in my education and going to the Howard University, or, whether it's, in my career and being a part of some really, really impactful global brands. I've just given I've been given a lot, and I never want to, hold on to that and keep anyone else from receiving what they need to do to go on and be amazing and incredible creatives out in this industry. So
wow, see, that's why. So now y'all get why I absolutely adore her. It's her heart. It's the fact that she gives. She gets it, but she gives it, and that's the space we live in. That literally is like me in a nutshell. It doesn't make sense for us to hoard it. We're not going to make any impact or influence any global change if we just kind of hoard what we have. So we're going to hang out in the back room for a minute. I'm going to try not to cry through my glasses. I am so, like I said, honored and grateful for everything that you're doing. For everybody that's watching, you can find 242 AM on Instagram. You can find her on all the social media streets. And like I said, if you can't find her, you let me know. Thank you again to everybody who's watching live and the replay. If you're watching the replay, again, please reach out. Don't miss these opportunities, y'all. And I definitely want to put our hearts out to everyone who's been impacted, everyone with the writer strikes, with all the strikes, because these are people's jobs. And again, I'm just so grateful that you chose to come on this platform and share your story. And I know someone is going to get blessed from it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And what do you want to tell these people? We're going to go backstage and hang out.
I just want to say thank you to you again. Thank you for sharing your platform with me. Of course, we connected. You were such generous with your time, and you already poured to me. So me just being here and being a part of your show just that's the kind of relationship, and I think that speaks to just who we are as individuals, just pouring into other creatives, pouring into others who are doing good work and strong work, and just really creating that safe space. So thank you for pouring into me, and thank you for offering this opportunity to me. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. Woo-hoo. I'm sorry, I had to get that out. all right, everybody. We'll catch y'all next time. I'll be back next week, and we'll hang out in the back room. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.